Alright, y'all, welcome back to the end of today's lesson. I don't have a song to start off this little video, but I do have some new vocabulary words for us to work through, starting with the letter F. So we just finished words A through E, and we're just moving on down through the alphabet. While we're not reading anything, but working on our writing, we're just going to keep building up our active vocabulary just as we work through the entire alphabet, starting from the letter A, hopefully making it through the letter Z this semester, but we'll see. You'll notice once again, you do have a quiz over these words next week. If you are on an odd day, that quiz will be on the 29th. If you are on an even day, or if you have an even numbered class period, hours 6 or 8, you'll have that quiz on the 30th. So on Halloween night, interesting, Halloween day I should say. In your next lesson, so to finish off this week, we're going to take what we know about sentences and learn how to organize them into paragraphs. So we'll learn about paragraphing in our next lesson. I've also got a little paragraph writing assignment for you to cover as well. Let's get it with our next set of vocab words. And here we have vocabulary set F through K right there. Now I know F through K, F-K looks a little suspect. I promise you that's not intentional. It just so happens to work out that way with the number of vocab words we're doing, so you can have a chuckle about that, but it's not intentional by any means. As you notice here, we've got our 10 words once again. This one's a little bit different this time around. As you look through our list, only 2 of these are adjectives. We had 4 adjectives last time. Looks like we got 4 nouns and 4 verbs, so it's still balanced between nouns and verbs, just fewer adjectives this time. Before I actually start looking up these words, I would recommend that you pause this video and try to define as many of these as you can on your own. I'll cover these definitions anyway in just a moment here. And let's continue here. So, the strategy that I always recommend first for vocab is to see if you can define some without any help of a dictionary. So as I look through my words, there are a few that I might know without looking them up. One of them is fragrance. I know fragrance has to do with a smell. I'm going to check my definitions for one that has to do with a smell. And I see number 4, a noun, a sweet smelling odor is a fragrance. Fragrance. Boom. So that's one down. Again, I can use strike through just as a visual for me to know that I won't use it again. By the way, while we're talking about that, there are still a few of you who are using words more than once on vocab quizzes. Again, use those elimination methods as a sign for you that you won't use them again. Those are points that you should not be losing just because you're not following directions. So again, eliminate words as you use them. Using them more than once won't do you much good. Are there any others that I can define without any help? Habitat looks familiar to me. I know that has to do with like animals. Let's see if I can find something that has to do with that. The environment in which a specific plant, animal, or person lives. I know that's a habitat. There we go. So now I've eliminated 2 of my nouns. So all I've got left are 4 verbs, 2 adjectives, 2 nouns. Maybe that'll help me as I'm defining as I go down the line. Let's open up my best friend, Merriam-Webster. So again, I like to just type in falter definition. Again, Google is going to pull something out automatically. I generally like Merriam-Webster instead because I'm fancy like that. And I'm seeing here that falter is a verb. To walk unsteadily, to stumble, to totter, to move waveringly. So I'm going to check my verbs first here. Verbs. To stumble, to hesitate in action or words. That one's going to be to falter. Done. Next, let's look at foresight. Foresight. Foresight's a noun, an active power of foreseeing, prescience, provident care, prudence, an act of looking forward. So I see that it's a noun. I've only got 2 nouns left to choose from. Let's see what I can do. A small round hill, no. Wisdom about the future. There we go. It's foresight. If someone has foresight, it simply means that he or she has an idea of what's going to happen in the future and makes wise decisions because of that. We'll look at sentences in a moment. Grueling is next. Notice, even though this is a word that ends in ing, this is an adjective. So sometimes those adjectives can get tricky where they look like verbs. This is actually an adjective. Trying or taxing to the point of exhaustion, punishing. It's an adjective. About to happen, no. Difficult to the point of exhaustion, extremely tiring, is grueling. You might describe playing an entire 90-minute soccer match as being grueling. It's extremely tiring. Imagine running for an hour and a half. Ignite is the next one. Ignite. A verb. To set a fire, to cause to burn. I think I saw that on my list. It's a verb. To set something on fire. It can also mean to start something suddenly. So, for instance, on ignite, it could be physically to start something on fire. Mr. Hantek ignited the bonfire. Or it could be to start something suddenly. When the student brought up Donald Trump in class, a debate ignited in the middle of the classroom. It suddenly started up. It flared up. Almost like a fire. Only 4 more to go. We're flying. Illuminate. I know that ATE... Well, actually, can I use that strategy? I've got 2 verbs left. One thing I know is that ATE endings are typically verbs. So let me see if I can identify one of these verbs here. It either means to push or shove into position, or it means to brighten something with light, to clarify or highlight. One thing that we can know, if you know a little bit about word roots as well, LUM, loom, means light as well. I can pop illuminate as to brighten something with light. Illuminate. There we go. Impending is another one. Let's look it up. Impending. Another ing adjective. Interesting. Occurring or likely to occur soon, upcoming. It's my last adjective, isn't it? About to happen or certain is impending. There we go. Only 2 left. Jostle and knoll. Jostle. Jostle is a verb, to come into contact or collide with something, to push, to shove. To push or shove into position is to jostle. And all that leaves left, because I've been eliminating, is knoll. A knoll is a small round hill or a mound in the ground. I'll uncross those because I know them now. So now we have all definitions. All that's left is to practice by writing them in their own complete sentences. I do want you to do all 10 sentences using your definition, so I want you to try them. One thing that I would point out is that the easiest way to look up my comments on earlier assignments is to go into Office 365. So I'll demonstrate that real quick here. If I go to Milwaukee Lutheran High School, quick links 0365. Alright, so once you're inside of Office 365, you might be able to find any recent documents that you've done for me here in recent. Otherwise, you can go into your OneDrive and just find any of the vocab documents that we've already completed, the ones that I've already commented on. You can see my feedback on them there. So as you're writing your sentences, it's not a bad idea to look to see how you did on earlier assignments. The thing I would be most careful about is using these within their part of speech. So for instance, foresight is a noun. A pretty common phrase for foresight is something like, he had the foresight to. He had the foresight to do something because he could predict what was coming up in the future. He had the foresight to wear a raincoat after checking the forecast or something like that. Again, notice that I've used it as a noun. He had the foresight. It's an object in that sentence. So pay close attention to parts of speech as you're forming these sentences. It's fine to take guesses on some of their usage because you'll get my feedback anyway. I am looking for clean, complete sentences that demonstrate that you know how these words work. So pay close attention to parts of speech as you are doing your own sentences, and then look at my feedback afterwards as a form of studying.